Is he going to be good enough? I can have a conversation with anybody about any player. Go and have a chat with Joao Mountinho and just go and tell them they're not big enough. Come back and tell me what they say. 125 caps for Portugal, you know, put them all away because you're not big enough, pal.
You know, these young players who are coming through, if you are technically excellent, that's something what you can have for the rest of your life. But it's your capacity to learn, and it's your willingness, which some people think he's too small. Yeah. Well, you are too small if you don't think, act, have the desire of a certain level. You know, what's your thoughts on that? Yeah,
I suppose that, again, reflecting, I had the same experience myself as a kid, as a player. So up to, I remember at Sheffield Boys under 15, I was on the bench. Do you know what I mean? But then I started to grow 15 and a half, 16. I was in Leeds first team at 17s. And I was never big. I was like, you know, and I think it comes back to the people in the building. Yeah. And I think everybody needs somebody in the building to look after them, to protect them. Do you know what I mean? And that's what, you know, if I look at, you know, I remember having conversations about Phil when he was 13, 14. Is he going to be big enough? And I was like, we don't say that, you know, is he going to be good enough? I can have a conversation with anybody about any player, but never say is he going to be big enough. And I used to have it at Wolves. I think he's not. I said, well, you used to go and have a chat with Joao Mountinho and Daniel Pedence, and just go and tell them they're not big enough. All right, and then come back and tell me what they say. And tell Joao he's 125 caps for Portugal. You know, put them all away because you're not big enough, pal. So it's a common problem. To be honest, though, I go abroad, and I think they have the same mindset. You know what I mean? You see lots of players that who've had difficult journeys to get to the top, even abroad. So I don't think it's just an English problem. I think it's a problem all over Europe. And I think it's, again, you've got to look at, and it can sometimes depend on what does the academy manager, head of football, whatever, what type of players does he like, can be dictating where you go as a footballer.
But then sometimes you're not going to, if you know them individuals are talented, and one thing as a player, it's the resilience in it. So go back to what you said, 15, you're on the bench, 17, you're playing first team football. Well, that shows your mentality as a human being, that you were driven, but you were resilient to the point that you knew what you wanted and you were going to get it.
Yeah, I think it comes out exactly how, are you passionate? Are you going to put up with the ups and downs? Because there's so many, there's more downs than ups in football as a player, and in your development as well. So are you prepared to get up and say, okay, I was on the bench yesterday, I'm going to go and train on Tuesday, and I'll prove them wrong. And that was always my mindset. I was told from, oh, you're not big enough from about 12 years old. I said, all right, whatever, I'm a child, I'm not big yet. But I used to think, I'm going to prove you wrong, I'll prove it, and I've always had that. And again, you talk about, you know, Phil, Luke, Joe Hodge, 3 kids with, again, top mentalities. Love playing football. You know, I never didn't see Phil. You know, Phil's arm should be like that because he always had a ball under his arm. Every time I see him, Luke's the same. You know, Luke didn't get in the reserves at 21s at Wolves till he was a first year pro. So his development was slower. But he was in the first team at 19 and a half.
All 3 of them as well. Good people.
Got great kids. But challenging as well, which I liked. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? But would accept to be challenged. Which I didn't mind either. Excuse me. You know, I would have I would say, hey, come on, not good enough, and Luke would go, yeah, fair enough, Hodgie. The same. Excuse me.
You just keep going, Hodgie, won't it?
Yeah.
Keep going.